Hey everybody, welcome in on a hump day. It's Wednesday, the July 30th already, guys. It's crazy. Here you are for live weather impact today. We got a lot to talk about. We've got a special guest coming on today. We're going to be talking some lightning safety. We're going to talk about the earthquake a little bit as much as we can. It was wild last night. Sixth biggest earthquake in the world's records happened last night around 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. It set off tsunami warnings and alerts for the whole Pacific Rim. Thankfully, the worst tsunami damage was confined to areas of Russia, a little bit in Japan, but we'll talk more about that coming up in a few minutes with Tim. But let's talk about our weather because we're starting to see a little bit of a change in the pattern. It started yesterday where we kind of broke the heat wave, I would say, maybe slightly. But today it really started to kick in as temperatures are getting a little bit cooler. The big cool down, though, is still a couple days away. You're going to have to wait to the weekend. So let's take a look at our Dallas camera tonight. We could take a look outside. Oh, beautiful shot there. That's actually a rain shower off towards the west with the setting sun. So you're seeing some pretty good looking skies out there. Those towering cumulus clouds. We talked about rain bubbles and the life cycle of single cell thunderstorms. That's kind of what we have going on today. Uptown right now, this is our roof camera here at WCNC looking back towards the gorgeous skyline of Charlotte. You actually see one of those towering cumulus clouds off in the distance there. The current temperature 90, so yeah, technically cooler, not as hot. And there's our giant overlord wasps taking over the camera there. The dew point, though, is 72. So even though it's cooler, technically, it has definitely been muggier the last couple of days, and that's still making it feel like it's 97. The current temperature, 90 here, 73 Boone. Up in Tim's world, we're the same temperature as Tim tonight, 90 degrees. So Greensboro, we're kind of on par with them. Dew points, as I mentioned, 70, so it is very sticky out there. The number of days of 90 plus today, 24. I don't know why that went to 22 to 24. We skipped a number. It's 24, trust me. It should have been 23 initially there. But yeah, 24 consecutive days, fourth longest streak in the city's record books. And this is our 44th 90-degree day of the year. Now, that's significant because that is our normal number for an entire calendar year. As I mentioned, today's July 30th. We still have all of August and a good chunk of September where you can get 90-degree temperatures. So a good month and a half left. We are certainly going to go above normal just because we're going to have 2 more days this week alone. But the below normal days coming up will put a little break on the 90-degree heat. So maybe we'll end up with maybe something more reasonable. Certainly not going to be 88, but I think we're going to get well into the 50s, possibly 60 days of 90 plus. Where are those storms right now? Well, the ones we've been keeping an eye on are kind of sitting there over in parts of Cleveland County, western Lincoln County, Catawba County. Certainly some nice rainfall out there for many areas. Nothing strong or severe right now, and no flash flooding to speak of with these, even though that's going to be a threat we're going to watch the next couple of days, because anything that develops is going to be super slow moving, tropical in nature. That means heavy downpours possible, and any one of those slow moving storms is going to dump a ton of rain, and you're going to have the potential for flash flooding. So the impacts going into Friday: flash flood risk, localized flooding. Highest rain chance could be probably Friday evening into Friday night. Some of these storms will have the potential to produce flash flooding. So today and this evening we have that risk, but this risk will honestly continue all the way until Friday when we see that front move through. Tonight, mid-70s. Tomorrow, we're back into the low to mid-90s, so another hot day, but notice the 60% chance of scattered showers and storms. Now, kind of a chaotic surface map here. You're looking at scattered showers and storms kind of all over the place, but what the big story is going to be Friday, backdoor cold front. So what that means, the front's coming down from Virginia, so it's going to move down from the northeast to the southwest, and that's usually a cold air damming or a cold air wedge setup that we call it. We don't normally see that in the summer. So the fact that we're getting this in July is awesome. It's actually going to cool us off, and it's actually going to help produce some pretty heavy rain. So this will be a pattern that we see going into the weekend. So not only is it going to be cool, but as I mentioned, the air you can wear, low 70-degree dew points, the super sauna kind of air, it's going to be with us through Friday. But look at Saturday, Sunday, Monday. We're talking dew points in the low 60s, mid to upper 50s. That's almost unheard of in the summer. So not only is it going to be cooler, it's not going to be humid on top of that. So we get the double bonus of drier, cooler air, which is exactly what we deserve after the crazy heat wave we just went through. Now, excessive rainfall. To get there first to that cool, dry weather, we got to get through a cold front, that backdoor front, and that's going to produce excessive rainfall. So a medium risk for flash flooding. This gives you about a 15 to 20% chance of a flash flood event somewhere within 25 miles. And so when you look at the rainfall forecast, remember, numerical modeling, like this guidance that we call it, we're not good at specifics with this, so don't look at the exact totals and the location, but get an idea that somewhere in our area could get up to 3 or 4 inches of rain. It won't be Chester. It could be Chester, but it could be anywhere south and east of 85, depending on where this front stalls. So the location is the hard part to pin down. We just know the atmosphere is prime for somebody to get a whole bunch of rain in a short period of time Friday night, and so that's why we're under that flash flood risk. But also notice some areas don't see nearly that much rain. So there will be spots that don't get much rain at all. That's what we mean by localized flash flooding. It's not a huge widespread flood event. So this is also going to probably reduce the chance of a flood watch, because it's going to be hard to pin down where to put that. But I would put it past some areas, especially the upstate, maybe getting under a flood watch at some point. But isolated flood warnings will be possible. The heat dome, the big responsible part of this heat wave, it breaks down. We actually see a trough of low pressure, which is a dip in the jet stream, bringing cooler, drier weather, and yes, wetter weather going into the end of the week. So when we look at the 7-day rainfall forecast, which is a look at how much rain we'll see over the next 7 days, you kind of see it's really confined to the Carolinas, and we could see some pockets, and that actually looks like it's not updated yet, but the Carolinas certainly will be the highlight of the heavy rain risk. So the weekend forecast, there's a lot of reasons to look forward to the weekend. A lot of folks do. This weekend is one you really want to look forward to, because unlike last weekend when it was 101 and 102, two of the hottest temperatures we've seen since 2015, this weekend is 20 to 22 degrees cooler. 80 degrees on Saturday, 81 on Sunday. Now, the wetter of the 2 days is going to be Saturday, because that's when we'll have more cloud cover, drizzle, and mist around. So certainly that'll be a day where I think we'll see the most scattered showers and possible drizzle. Take a look at the 7-day forecast. You see temperatures, again, 2 more days in the 90s. 70% chance of rain. August 1st is Friday, which is crazy to think it's already August. July has blown by, but it has been a hot one. It's going to be much cooler for Saturday, Sunday, Monday. There's those temperatures in the 80s. We'll show you the 10-day forecast go way out in the future. As we get into that first week of August, you'll see temperatures again running in the low to mid 80s at least through next Thursday. So a long stretch of possibly below normal temperatures. And to put that in perspective, we have not seen a 60-degree low since mid-June, we have not been below normal since the beginning of July. And so it's been a hot, hot summer. To have the chance for not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 6 days in a row of below normal temperatures, that would be the longest streak in months, not weeks, not days, months. So it is going to be an incredible, nice stretch of weather for cooler temperatures. And for folks who need rainfall, we're going to get some rain as well. So coming up here in just a few seconds, we are going to have a guest tonight with Tim Buckley coming on from WFMY up in the Greensboro area, talking about a lightning strike. And we talked a lot about this a couple weeks ago about lightning safety and how you can get hit in your house. And we're going to be talking to somebody who had that happen to them coming up. And it was all caught on camera coming up in just seconds when Tim joins me. So stay tuned. He's coming up. I think he's almost ready to join us here tonight. There's Tim. All right, Tim, how you doing? Do we have Tim's audio? I can't hear him. You guys hear him?
Sorry.
There we go.
I got my audio back. Hopefully everything's good in Charlotte.
Yeah.
It's an operator error a lot of times.
Yeah, that's the great thing about this show. We got a lot. I mean, Jeb helps me out. Lily's helped me out. But you're in control. And sometimes the news anchors here, we're actually doing Stream Deck as well. It's got to do everything at once. So we might miss a punch here and there. Yeah, so Tim, I was joking that both of us were the same temperature here at 6:30 tonight, 90 degrees. So that's been a while since we've seen that happen. Both of us the same temperature. I want to talk a little about our local weather because we've got a big break coming. You're getting ready for the Wyndham Championship before our guest joins us here. Just give people an update on the Wyndham forecast because I know that's going to be a big deal for you guys, but it is a big deal for the Carolinas in general because a lot of folks will be traveling from our area. They'll be traveling from Raleigh, Eastern North Carolina. Mm-hmm. They'll be traveling from far distance away to see this PGA event. What's the forecast looking like up there at the Country Club Sedgefield for the Wyndham Championship?
Yeah, I think it could be worse. It could always be better, but we're mostly going to be looking at tomorrow and Friday. The next 2 days both have opportunity for thunderstorms each afternoon and each evening. Now, we could get lucky and most of them kind of dance around the golf course a little bit, but just to kind of show you some of the uncertainty, I can pop up my graphic here if we could take it. This is kind of the outlook as far as our region for Thursday, Friday, and then on the same time, Saturday and Sunday. So the weekend up this way looks amazing. So if you're thinking about coming up here, Saturday might have some clouds, but it's going to be pretty cool and comfortable in the 70s with falling humidity. And then on Sunday, even better for there. So the main question for us is how many storms are there Thursday and Friday afternoons? How many golfers does that impact? And then how do they have to adjust the field, if any? You know, they sometimes need to double people up on Saturday to take care of that. But overall, they're going to play golf tomorrow. They're going to play golf every day. It's just a question of are there a couple of hours here or there with lightning and with rain concerns. The main concern with anyone's safety on the course is always lightning. So hopefully we can keep that away. But I wouldn't be shocked if there are a couple of hours Thursday and for Friday that might be impacted a little bit by the rain and storms. We've issued an alert for our area just to let people know that, have that rain gear handy, be checking the phone app, because don't rely on people to let you know it's headed your way, because you kind of got to take personal responsibility on these scattered storm days. I tend to check the radar at least about once every hour. I know I'm the weather geek and the weather guy, but you can be too. Just check it, and that'll help you out as you're out and about on your afternoon and evening here in the Triad.
Yeah, for sure. So, yeah, thanks, Tim. That's always good to have an update on that. The golf course is definitely weather dependent on the lightning. The lightning is the biggest risk that they worry about, obviously, on the golf course. Tim, I'd be remiss if we didn't talk about last evening's massive magnitude 8.8 earthquake. We were streaming for hours here, talking till about 10 o'clock about it. To put this in perspective, I know we pulled the top 10 biggest earthquakes in the Earth's history, at least from our recorded history. This is up there. This is number 6 on the list. And the tsunami threat was legit, even though for the most part, the tsunami level was much lower than we feared. It was only a couple feet in Hawaii and on the West Coast. But it could have been disastrous for the Pacific Rim. I think people are somewhat fascinated and also scared of these type of setups, but from a meteorological standpoint and also from a science standpoint, that is a lot of energy being released in the Pacific, in an area that's actually seen similar earthquakes like this before. What were your thoughts when this happened last night around 7:30, and what was the first thing you thought of when you saw the first kind of alert pop up about this earthquake?
Well, I think it's nerves mostly, and even just watching from afar, not being in a risk zone, of course, over here on the East Coast, but just there's limited information, and you did a great job explaining a lot of this on your live stream last night. But as well as I do, we only know so much when it's happening live, and we're talking about get the initial data of the earthquake, then it gets corrected, and then we see how strong it was. Yeah. You still don't really know what the end result is going to be until it happens, and so especially when you talk about all this energy just going out across the Pacific Ocean, you don't have buoys all over the place. We don't have all that data. A lot of this energy is moving way underneath the water's surface. So you can't even measure this until it gets much closer to land. And then I think, it's always educational for me when this happens to kind of, reacquaint myself with how that bathymetry, how the ocean floor kind of angles the energy upward. And I'm not innately familiar with Hawaii's geography. What are you doing in that moment? You're looking at the maps itself and kind of, looking for analog events in real time?
Yeah, that's kind of what I did last night. I was looking for similar tsunami warnings and similar epicenters there in the Northwest Pacific. But, ironically, I was just in Hawaii a week ago, literally flew back last Tuesday. And one of the things I noticed there, Tim, and it's just as a meteorologist and as a kind of I love geology as well, you noticed the tsunami warning sirens everywhere. They're all over the beaches. They stick. I actually took pictures of them because they were so obvious. And I was telling my kids about that, what these things were. I said, hey, it's not local earthquakes they worry about here in the Hawaiian Islands. It's earthquakes all over the Pacific. And so they were great at getting the warning out. And I think one thing I will take from this that I think is probably we don't take enough solace in the fact that we have a pretty good warning system for tsunamis. The Indian Ocean earthquake in 2004, they don't have a warning center in the Indian Ocean. They actually had no way to communicate that to the other countries. So in the Pacific, thank goodness, the National Weather Service, which runs the Pacific Tsunami Warning Center, they're in Honolulu, they have great information. And so it was amazing to see that information go out. And there was some local ties, and that's just not families, but if Jeb could bring up my laptop, I want to show you what the earthquake looked like locally. I don't think people realize that the earthquakes, P waves and S waves, which travel through the mantle and the crust, make it all the way to the Carolinas. This is from Blacksburg, South Carolina, and Jenkinsville area as well. This was a look at what the quake looked like on local seismographs. Now, you don't feel it locally, but these seismographs do register the shaking of the ground and the waves passing below us that we don't feel. And one of the reasons we saw the updates, we saw two of them last night, 8.0 initially, 8.7, 8.8. The reason that happens is because as those seismic waves travel around the world, other stations collect data, and as more data comes in, they have a good idea on how strong that storm was. So, yeah, it was one of those things caught the attention of the world for good reason, but thankfully it was offshore, so the shaking didn't impact a lot of Russia, and the tsunami outside of some of those villages on that peninsula, everybody kind of made it out okay.
And that's what we want. That's what the warning is there for. Get people out of harm's way just in case. It does no harm to get yourself up a couple of feet. I saw people that were nervous. There were people in the 7th story. That was never the warning here. This is just saying get away from the ocean by a bit and make sure you're out of harm's way. And I think most people did that. And now you can go on with your vacation or go on living there in Hawaii. And hopefully the next time you know what to do as well.
Yeah. That was wild last night. You're right. Being there, I'll tell you, that's a great place to live. But let's transition. We have
retiring there.
I know. I'm like, I could talk about tsunamis now when I'm over there retired. Weather-wise, we want to transition to something that happened a couple weeks ago, but caught our attention, and it was local. We talked about lightning safety on this show. In fact, we had a lightning safety expert on, and we talked a lot about the myths and some of the things to worry about. But we talked about, and I think we somewhat joked that you could get hit in your house. The old wives' tale about not being in your bathtub, or me as a kid playing my Nintendo and my PlayStation, not using corded controllers back in the day, or using a corded phone was legit. And we had a streamer who lives here in the Carolinas who actually experienced this firsthand, and thankfully he's okay, he's fine. But we're going to talk to him in a minute. But let me show you the video of Christian Howard. He goes by Crispy Mate online. He's a streamer and a gamer who actually got hit in the middle of his live stream.
Obviously, it's running a lot at the moment, so it's going to be better. Might.
Bro, I just got struck by lightning. I'm gonna stop stream. Oh. So I was sitting in here, I had my earbuds in. A big thing of lightning hit in like my ears. Like I felt lightning go through my earbuds.
All right, so you saw it there, and now joining us live on Live Impact News is Christian Howard. And Christian, man, thanks for joining us. I appreciate it. And you've been really busy. You've been getting a lot of requests to come talk about this. Tim and I, as meteorologists, we kind of preach this all the time. But just take us back to that moment and talk about what it felt like. And did you ever worry that this could happen to you?
Well, to start, no, I was never worried. I was mentioning the whole stream that, there's a crazy storm outside, so there's, it's a good ambiance for what I was doing. But essentially what had happened was what I had felt first was kind of more like a pressure in my head. Imagine you're like in the front of a heavy metal concert and the drummer just hits one good beat and you get that bass in your chest. Yeah. Imagine that, but in both of your ears with the same sensation of like a gum gag pull stick when you're a kid. Yeah. Like the zap of that. Imagine those two sensations just ongoing in your head at the same time in one big flash.
Wow. And how did, you knew pretty immediately it was a lightning strike. Did you immediately think that, or did you, once you took your headphones off, you kind of realized?
I immediately knew because I felt like the sizzle of it hit my head, and then everything went black for a split second and then went right back up. So I knew it was a lightning strike, and so I was very well aware.
Okay, so as a reformed gamer myself, but I still build machines. Any damage to the equipment? I want to know what got anything get fried?
Oddly enough, no. I was expecting to have to repurchase a bunch of items. Nothing is, fried so far. Everything works to the same expectation. I'm very, very concerned as to how that didn't happen, but no, everything looks fine so far.
How about the house? Any damage to anything else in the house? Do you kind of know where the strike happened outside?
Right out the back of the window, you can kind of see in the video, everything lights up like red the back behind my window here. But as far as the rest of the house, nothing looks damaged. I've looked around, all the electrical items are still fine. So it looks to have just been a wild strike, and then nothing necessarily negative came out of it so far.
Hey, Christian, Tim here in Greensboro. I love that I'm glad that you're fine, number one, but I kind of love that we have this example to show people now because truthfully, this is something that I think we say to people a lot of times that it doesn't really resonate or it doesn't sound real. It's like, okay, sure, I'm going to still play my game or whatever. What do you think going forward your message to other gamers is going to be? We get thunderstorms all the time in the summertime. This is something that happens kind of a lot.
Right. First and foremost, surge protectors are very important. I didn't have one at the time. Generally, though, listen to your mom, listen to your grandparents. Always, get off the electronics while there's a lightning storm going on. You want to be safe. It can happen. I didn't expect it, but it can happen at any moment. So be safe out there.
And a lot of times we don't have video of anybody encountering a lightning strike. I mean, the thing about streaming is you're live. And how long did you keep the live stream going? And then how quickly did you post the video of yourself? I guess it was already posted, maybe.
Yeah, I probably kept the live stream going for about 5, maybe 10 minutes max, just to let my community know that I was okay, because there was a few people in there at the time. So I want to make sure they understood that I was okay in the moment, so they weren't worrying about me. And then I quickly just got off. I kind of went upstairs, took a breather for a good half an hour, and then I was like, all right, let me look at it. I reviewed the footage, kind of cut up just the part where it happened, and posted it. But no, it was a pretty quick turnaround. I shut off the stream and then just took a minute to myself to collect myself because a lot of adrenaline was pumping at that moment.
So I got to ask.
That's scary.
Yeah, since this event, I've seen because I've been following kind of the aftermath of this. A lot of media has been reaching out to you. Like, what are some of the crazy people that have reached out to you, and like, what other interviews have you done that kind of blows your mind about this?
I've done quite a few. I went on Fox News weather, which was the first live weather service I've been on before, and that was a wild experience, just like this one.
Yeah.
But I've been on that. I had somebody reach out from the UK. It was a company just asking to put it on like Ridiculousness and other shows like that. So I've had quite a few people reaching out. Some reaching out to like try to resell the video and things like that. I haven't really worked with those just yet, though.
Yeah.
But just a weird outreach that I was not expecting from a situation like this. I just expected to put it out there, a couple of people, that's cool, and then just skedaddle. But it's been a weird situation, I'll say.
Yeah, that's welcome to our world. That happens all the time. It seems like we get people trying to take video and viral hog, and everybody else trying to grab it. So let me ask you this: I got to know, what game were you playing when this was going on, or what were you streaming at the time?
Well, just before that, I was playing Who's at Your Door, which is a new like trending horror game that just came out recently. I was playing that for a long time. And I believe I was transitioning into a new game, but there was some error with my frame rate at that moment. I believe due to the storm, because it just started dropping a bunch. That's why you see me pause and just stare, because I was just watching my bit rate go down. I was actually just about to end the stream because I was like, I don't want to put terrible quality out there for you guys. So I'll end now. But then it happened, and so it was Who's at Your Doors, to answer your question.
Yeah. So
Christian, you've got some. Just to jump in quick, you've got some great hair. And whenever we see a cartoon of somebody getting struck by lightning, the hair just goes crazy.
Yeah.
Like a mad scientist, right? Did that happen to you? I didn't see that in the video.
Not necessarily. So I had just taken a shower a little while before. And I'll be honest, I used some coconut oil in this mane of mine. So I'm assuming that helped keep it down. But yeah, no, nothing wild happened to my hair just yet afterwards.
Yeah. So is this going to be like the top craziest thing that's happened during one of your streams so far?
I'm gonna. Well, yeah. How can you top that?
Yeah.
Of course.
So are you Team XSplit or OBS? What are you using the stream with normally?
Streamlabs. It's definitely my favorite to go to.
Yeah.
Super easy platform. It's a little laggier, but it's definitely better for the ease of access.
Yeah, that's great. And so have you seen like your subscriber count go way up after this?
Not crazy amount, I'd say. With YouTube, I'm very impressed. It's probably up a good 150 subscribers since then, and going up every day, which is really cool to see. As far as Twitch goes, it went up about 100 follows, which is really nice. So it's been a general increase, which has been really cool to see.
Yeah. Tim, I don't know if you have
We've
any
had
more
some
questions.
storms since then.
Yeah.
I guess my question is just, over your area. I think this week has actually been a little busy for storms too. You do anything differently now when that happens?
Yes, surge protector wise, that's in. I will say it's hard to avoid the storms, and I am a streamer. I may have streamed gently whilst there was a storm nearby, not necessarily as close, but I do keep an eye on it, and I do have a surge protector now to try to stay safer.
I can tell you what, we work when the storms are happening too. We got a lot of equipment over here, and we try and keep it as safe as possible, right? But good to know going forward.
Yeah, I mean I'm glad you're safe. I think at the end that's the great thing, and it's a great lesson. I'm glad you're talking to people because, as Tim mentioned, this is just a great example. It really tells us, as you probably know, people don't pay attention to our safety tips, but if you have proof like this, it's like, hey, this has actually happened. People will believe us now and take it seriously. And it is one of those things I don't think people think about. We have so much cordless electronics nowadays, but as a streamer, when you're plugged in like this, you got a lot of stuff in the system, and so I think you're one of the few people that maybe as going forward, this will be a safety tip we give to most streamers. Like, hey, as you mentioned, have that surge protector and think about. I always thought about during events like this. It wasn't. I hate to say this. It wasn't always about my safety. I was trying to protect my equipment, so I would unplug everything just to make sure it didn't get fried.
Right.
Good tips for sure.
All right, Christian. Thank you so much for joining us. And you want to give a shout? Like, what is your handle now? Crispy Mate, right? I think I got that right.
Certainly, it's Crispy Mate on all platforms. You can find me on Twitch, YouTube. I post every day, stream most parts of the week. So find me many times there.
I think you got to get into that storm chasing game just now because of this.
Right, exactly. I will, I think.
Thank you so much, Christian. Yeah, I mean, that's a great example, Tim, of, some of those safety tips we give. And, occasionally when we say those, people will think we're crazy. And the bathtub thing always throws people for a loop. And I remember only other event that I can remember that was crazy, I remember a toilet blowing up in Florida somewhere when their plumbing got hit by lightning. And it was one of those, like, mind-blowing things where people are like, yeah, your plumbing can get hit, and this is a good example of electricity going into a gamer as well.
Mom's always right. That's what Christian just told us. So.
Yeah, I love that he said that. Mom and grandmas are right. Well, thanks again for joining us tonight. That was a great segment. Stick around. We've got more news coming up on WCNC Plus and WFMY Plus.